I did it. I hit my July 18th deadline, which is gold. Savvy. So this song I'm calling Wells is about somebody who was like a stepfather to me who passed in 2023. And I had allowed myself to get behind on my monthly releases. For those who don't know, I release a song every single month, and I have been since the beginning of 2024. Now, a few of my songs have hit over 10,000 plays, which to me is amazing. And I started a new job, which allowed me to get way too behind on this, and I really didn't think I was going to make a July release. So I chose this one because it's just guitar, vocals, and that's all I had to mix and master. So when I started this whole thing 2 years ago, I actually started, if I'm not mistaken, and I can look at it right here, with a bunch of acoustic stuff. So my first song I released was How Can It Be? That was acoustic and vocals, and it was really easy. Then I released a song called Window, and then Hard to Show, and then I Hope You Dance. So these four I had already finished. So right then I finished those, and I had up until April to start doing this other stuff, like my bigger projects where there's drums, bass, which is obviously a lot more to mix and master. And after that came Foxwood. And I had to do drums on that. And I don't really consider myself a drummer, but I can drum a little bit. And then Lullaby was an orchestral piece that I did. And then what I did was, because I was so far, I'm pretty sure, I wonder if I can see when I uploaded it. I don't know how that works on DistroKid. Upload date, June 4th. And then it wasn't released till June 22nd. So I had uploaded that, but then I did a traditional song that you may have heard called Keep on the Sunny Side. I love it. It feels really old school, traditional, hymn-like. And that's cool. I didn't know I could do that. See, I uploaded this on June 11th, but didn't release it until July 12th. And then I had 100 Trips. That was another orchestral one, which I uploaded July 22nd, didn't release until August 16th. And if you get the pattern there, some of my later songs after that, my song You're Mine that I wrote for my wife, and that actually has over 10,000 plays too, which I love. It's one of my favorite songs I've ever written. It actually took me about 5 years, seriously, to get the lyrics down. And it was actually that song that turned into all of this. I wanted to, I can't recall where I heard it, and you hear these things when you're young, they're like seeds being planted. You can't wait for inspiration to hit. And it finally clicked, a couple of years ago, where I was like, okay, yeah, you can't, I wanted a studio, so I really fought hard toward it. Like, a lot of these songs were just recorded on my old laptop with like 8 gigs of RAM. Like, it was nothing. And I couldn't really get my orchestral stuff working on here enough. So I went big and I built this studio. I was like, screw it. I mean, it's a home studio, but it certainly cost some money. But it was Your Mind because it took me so long that one day I was like, screw it, dude. I'm about to sit down and I've got to figure these lyrics out because I want to release this song. And I actually ended up playing it on the news. Anyway, super cool. It was awesome. And so what I'll do sometimes in order to stay ahead enough to where I can do drums and have time to mix and master a full song with 5 instruments is I'll do a bunch of acoustics. Now I've got a ridiculous amount of, like, this isn't even all of them. I've got this and this. These are songs that I'm working on. Some of them I've certainly already finished and they're recorded, but I've done a lot. And a lot of my writing actually takes place at work. So I've been an executive chef, a sous chef. I've been in restaurants for many, many years, and I've been executive chef and chefing for about 10. And, I was like, I'm going to take the plunge. I don't want to do this forever. It's very taxing. And it's often not intentionally, but it's a thankless job. So some buddies of mine own this place called George's here in Little Rock, and it's really great. And they hired me to do prep, and that's all I do, and it's great. The hours are great, and it was an easy transition as far as, like, I know everybody that works there, so it was really easy. All I had to do was learn, you know, the menu and the recipes that I would be prepping, which, again, isn't that difficult. But it did take a lot of my energy that I couldn't push to this anymore. So with all that being said, I need to give myself some room again. So I've got about 15 songs started. In fact, what I'll do here is pull up my notes. This is Wells. And let's see, I've got 1, 2. These are all could be acoustic, but a lot of these aren't done. Like Bridge Through Thunder I just released. You should go check it out. But I've got all of these, but I have ideas for drums and stuff like that. So I don't know that I'll be using any of these. So what I've been thinking about, and this is a song that is getting relatively big again, or, you know, kind of big again. My grandma showed me a bunch of old music when I was younger, and I'd gotten really deep into it, but it was a song that I all but forgot about. It's kind of making its rounds on TikTok and everywhere else right now, from Sinners. Now, the song originally is based off of a poem called, it's like the, let me look it up. Yeah, bear with me. It's by a guy named Robert, I know that. Robert Tannehill wrote a song, what did he call it? It was The Braes of Balquhidder. I don't know if I obviously can't pronounce that. But it became Will You Go, Lassie Go, because somebody recorded it, if I'm not mistaken, in the 50s. So I'm going to put public domain because I'm sure parts of it are. That's what's really weird when you get into traditional stuff. So the Animals made House of the Rising Sun big, but they were far from the first people to do it. Like the first recording, if I'm not mistaken, was recorded in the 19-teens by somebody who learned it from their grandpa. Like no one knows who wrote that song. It's crazy that you can follow this one that far from a poem because he was a big poet in Scotland. And he died in like early 1800s. So really like House of the Rising Sun, who knows how far back that goes. But so what we know it as is Will You Go, Lassie Go. And it's also known as Wild Mountain Time. But here it says, while its exact origins are debated, it's generally accepted that the version popularized by Francis McPeak in the 1950s is copywritten. Although his ability to assert those rights has been complicated by the songs connected to earlier compositions, and this happens with traditional songs all the time. In fact, I did a version of Keep on the Sunny Side, like I was saying earlier. And that's one of my favorite songs, and it was easy because I could just do it and not have to pay any copyrights. Now, I also recorded I Hope You Dance, and I pay the copyright on that every year, but it's only like $12, totally freaking worth it. And I had a really fun time singing that song and doing my version of it. So I'm heavily thinking that I'm going to record my own version of Will You Go, Lassie Go, because it is a beautiful song, and I really enjoyed Sinners' version of it. Like, they freaking killed it. In fact, I started following all of them on TikTok, and I can't recall the guy's name or the girl's name. Just look them up, because they obviously have their own music, and yeah, I've really enjoyed watching it.
My love, a bower by young cool and crystal fountain, and round it